My name is Ashleigh, and I'm the Clinical Operations Manager with our company. I don't know, why do I do it? Passion, I think, essentially. I do it because I'm a nurse first and foremost. Been a nurse for about 20 years, which shows my age. And I went into nursing to help people and to care for people and to see them and meet them where they're at. What this company allows for is people to, wherever they are in their healing journey, whether it's at the beginning or at the end. I'm just very grateful to be able to be a vessel that people can relate to and see and be honest with. So that's why I'm here. So for me, psychedelics, I have a bit of a different, I would say, history and background, in that I really didn't try psychedelics to come into this space. It was more the understanding of the brain. So to provide a little bit of context on my nursing background, is I was an ICU nurse for many, many years, and one of my main fields was actually in neurosciences. So I have an affinity, and I'm a bit of a geek when it comes to actually understanding the brain and how neurons come together. So when I was actually going through my own healing journey, which was facilitated after COVID, I was in a pretty deep, dark place. And one thing that really sparked me was the documentary called The Fantastic Fungi. If you haven't seen it, highly recommend it. But for me, it turned on every single neuron in my brain, and there was a passion and a connection to how the brain works, but also how we as humans are interconnected. And oftentimes clients, especially in the ICU, and I dealt with a wide array of different types of traumas and head injury clients, families would always ask, how would they be when they come back out? And I would always say, I never knew. And that's because the brain is plastic. And we thought that the brain was the structures of pieces, which technically it is, but it is very plastic. And it has the affinity and the ability to grow and shape and shift. So why psychedelics? Psychedelics actually facilitates that. It's that catalyst to the unknown, and to have new ways and new ways of thinking, being, acting, seeing, and that's what brings me passion. So in our brain, how we communicate from one neuron to the next, and our neurons allows us to move, think, and be. So if you want to think of it through the analogy of a computer system, right? Computer systems are all connected with different wires to be able to communicate with each other. The body's the same way, in that certain, things, thoughts, action potential, energy, is started in the brain, and then it goes throughout the entire body, and then you have that response in the body and our sensations and feelings and reactions and movements. But then that also, whatever that response is, then comes back to up to the brain, and then you create new neural pathways. When you start to change your thinking and you start to change your ways of seeing life and acting and responding to the elements that are outside of you, you strengthen those pathways of change. So I know that's not really explaining it well, but neurons, as Joe Dispenza says, neurons that fire together wire together. So the neurons that we want to change, which allows us to change our ways of thinking, being, seeing, reacting, feeling, are strengthened, and this is the neuroplasticity, over time when we start to repeat those same behaviors, and things that we don't really want to hold on to, or we know that are harmful or hurtful, eventually do go away. And that's the cool thing with the brain, in the fact that it's constantly creating these new connections, if we're willing to take the time and the energy to make them stronger. I guess from my perspective and my lens and my role, it's not about the actual individual client, but it's the collective. We are part of a collective consciousness, and my responsibility as operations manager is to create a collective conscious community of healthcare providers that offer a very open, safe, and healthy culture. As I said, everyone's journey is a little bit, the starting off is the same, but the ongoing parts of the journey you really take hold on. We really want you to be empowered to speak up for yourself on what you need, but we're also that support their team to help guide you along your way. It is indicated, and again, it's a controlled substance, so it is indicated for individuals with anxiety, PTSD, depression, CTPTSD, ADHD, OCD, some types of eating disorders depending. Anyone really with any kind of sort of mental health ailment that is, as I said, affecting your quality of life. It's hard because us as in our westernized world, we put labels on things. But again, if there are reasonings as to maybe you haven't been officially diagnosed, for example, with anxiety, that doesn't mean that you can't come to us. We can actually diagnose you through our medical team, or find just cause or validation to diagnose you to then get the medicine. So I don't want to say there's specifics that you have to have, have a conversation with us, come to us and we can chat with you about it. I think for me is that people taking accountability and ownership of themselves, I think is what really excites me about it. I don't know if that's where the industry is going, but providing individual the opportunity to have a different life. But they have to first step into the desire to want to and to do the work associated with it. I went into ICU nurse and became an ICU nurse because I looked at the client from multiple different systems. I looked at the heart, I looked at the lungs, I looked at the gut, I looked at the mind, and I would always used to get so frustrated with some of our specialty physicians because they would only look at that single structure. But the cool thing I like about psychedelics and what we're trying to start and what we're really trying to advocate for is that we are looking at the client from that holistic lens. And when you can get people to fix little things, it's amazing the incredible gains that they actually will get from it.